Did you know that millions of seniors and veterans across America are about to see real changes to their Social Security benefits, and most haven't even heard about it yet? If you've been feeling like the system wasn't quite working in your favor, I want you to take a deep breath, because today's news might just change that feeling completely. This is one of those moments you'll want to share with every friend and family member you know. So before we dive in, please hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss an important update like this one, and drop a comment below telling us your state, because where you live might matter more than you think. And now, let's get into everything you need to know, because there is genuinely a lot happening right now that directly affects your financial future, your peace of mind, and the benefits you've worked so hard to earn over a lifetime. Let's start at the very beginning, because context matters here. Social Security has been a cornerstone of American life since President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed it into law back in 1935. For nearly 9 decades, it has served as a lifeline, not a luxury, but a promise, to millions of working Americans who paid into the system faithfully, year after year, paycheck after paycheck. And yet, for decades, certain groups of dedicated public servants found themselves on the outside looking in. Teachers, firefighters, police officers, postal workers, and so many others who gave their lives to serving their communities were quietly penalized by two little-known provisions called the Windfall Elimination Provision and the Government Pension Offset. If those terms sound unfamiliar, don't worry, we're going to walk through all of it together in plain, everyday language. The Windfall Elimination Provision, often shortened to WEP, was a rule that reduced Social Security benefits for workers who also received a pension from a job that didn't pay into Social Security. Now, that might sound complicated, but imagine this: you spent 20 years as a schoolteacher in your home state, and then you spent another 15 years working in the private sector where Social Security taxes were taken out of every single paycheck. You did everything right. You contributed. You planned ahead. And then, when retirement came, you discovered that your Social Security check was significantly smaller than you expected, not because of anything you did wrong, but because of this provision that most people had never even heard of. For countless families across the country, that was a shocking and deeply painful discovery. The Government Pension Offset, known as GPO, created a similar problem but hit spouses and surviving spouses especially hard. Under this rule, if you received a government pension, your spousal or survivor Social Security benefits could be reduced, sometimes dramatically. There were widows and widowers out there who lost the majority of their survivor benefits simply because their late spouse had worked in public service. Can you imagine that? Losing your partner of 40 or 50 years, and then being told that the financial safety net you were counting on had been quietly trimmed down over the years without much fanfare or explanation. It happened to real people. People just like you, and people just like your neighbors. Now, here is where the news gets genuinely exciting, and I want you to really let this sink in. Congress passed, and the President signed into law, the Social Security Fairness Act, which officially eliminated both the WEP and the GPO. This is not a rumor, and this is not a maybe, it is the law of the land. And what that means is that millions of Americans who were previously penalized are now entitled to receive their full Social Security benefits. For some people, that increase could be hundreds of dollars per month. For others, it could be even more, depending on their specific work history and benefit calculation. This is the kind of legislative change that comes around once in a generation, and you deserve to know every detail of how it applies to you. Now, the question on everyone's mind is naturally, when does this actually happen? When does the money start flowing? And that brings us to the critical date of March 11th, which the Social Security Administration has identified as a key processing milestone in rolling out these changes. The SSA has been working diligently behind the scenes to recalculate benefits for all affected individuals, and March 11th marks a significant point in that process. If you or someone you love falls into the category of affected beneficiaries, meaning you worked in a job covered by a government pension and also paid into Social Security, this date carries real meaning for your financial picture going forward. For our veterans in the audience, and we know many of you are watching right now, this update carries additional layers of significance. Many veterans transition from military service into government or public sector jobs, which means they may have been affected by these same provisions without fully realizing it. Military service, as we all know, is one of the most selfless things a person can do for their country, and the idea that those who served could have been shortchanged on their retirement benefits is something that needed to be corrected. The Social Security Fairness Act takes a meaningful step toward making that right, and that is something worth celebrating together. Now, you might be wondering, do I need to do anything? Do I need to call someone, fill out a form, or visit an office? Here is the reassuring answer: for most people, the SSA is handling these adjustments automatically based on the information they already have on file. However, it is always wise to stay informed and proactive. If you have not already created an online My Social Security account at ssa.gov, now is a wonderful time to do so. Through that account, you can review your earnings history, see your projected benefit amounts, and track any changes or updates to your record. It is a straightforward process, and the SSA website has step-by-step guidance to help you through it. It is also worth having a conversation with your financial planner or a trusted benefits counselor if you want a more personalized picture of how these changes affect your specific situation. Every person's work history is unique, and the benefit calculations can vary quite a bit depending on your timeline, your pension amount, and other factors. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your retirement security, and you should never feel embarrassed about asking questions or seeking help in understanding what you are owed. What makes this moment so meaningful, beyond the dollars and cents, is what it represents. It represents a recognition that the people who dedicated their careers to public service, the teachers who stayed late to help struggling students, the firefighters who ran toward danger when everyone else ran away, the veterans who sacrificed years of their lives, those people deserve to retire with the full dignity and financial security they earned. It is a reminder that persistence and advocacy can bring real change, and that the system, imperfect as it sometimes is, can be made more fair when enough people demand it. As we head toward the conclusion of today's video, I want you to carry this information with you and share it generously. Talk about it at the dinner table. Mention it to your friends at church or at the community center. Send this video to that sibling or neighbor who might not know their benefits are changing. Because sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for each other is simply make sure no one gets left behind, and today, that starts with making sure every senior and every veteran who has earned these benefits actually receives them. Coming up next, we're going to wrap everything together and give you a simple, clear action plan so you know exactly what steps to take this week. Stay with me, because the final piece of this puzzle is just as important as everything we've covered so far.